Hello and welcome back everyone, we are of course back, and today as you can see, we are of course back on Skyblock yet again for another guide. So, today's guide is all about how to basically rush to unlock the Bazaar when you are just getting started. So, what we're looking for is Skyblock level 7, so of course you gotta do a couple things before that, because that'll take a little bit when you're just getting started. And I want to say to start off with, I'm not going to be just showing the entire process, because that of course would take a long time. The process can take anywhere from like an hour to 5, give or take, depending on how long you take and what you do and all that. But I will be showing my top methods that you can do, and what things you want to kind of focus on when you're unlocking the Bazaar, so that you can kind of maximize your time for getting as much Skyblock XP as possible. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, to start off with, the first things I want to talk about are the main things that you can do very early on to get a ton of easy Skyblock XP that are in item form. So things that you can buy if you kind of are farming anyway and have some money from that. So, the first thing is actually accessories. Now, if you didn't know, anytime you equip an accessory, you will actually get a bit of Skyblock XP. Now, this is just a random one that I didn't have anyway, but as you can see right there, I got 5 XP from it, because that was an uncommon, and it kind of decides based on how rare it is, or the rarity tier of it. Now, an easy way that you can get these in the early game for cheap is actually just this NPC right here. You can easily get 6 of them, and then you can just search through the auction house and try to find any others that might be pretty cheap. And another way that you can actually get pretty easy Skyblock XP is through pets. So say the bee pet, the grandma wolf pet, the enderman pet, pets like those, depending on the rarity as well, will give you a bit of Skyblock XP. That was a ghoul for 50k, just because I didn't have it to begin with, and that was an easy 12 Skyblock XP. Now, the main thing that's going to be really helpful in the beginning, though, is actually the museum. Now, you may be wondering, how does the museum help so much with Skyblock XP? Well, essentially, anytime you donate an item or armor set or whatever else, you will get a little award down here, or reward, whatever, and you will actually be able to claim 4 Skyblock XP, sometimes more, but at least 4 for every item that you donate. So, this can actually ramp up really quick, considering how many are really cheap, like farm suit, mushroom armor, angler armor, pumpkin, cactus, leaflet, which is literally just made with leaves. All of this is extremely cheap, so you can actually just farm for these first couple, and that'll be a very solid amount of Skyblock XP, or you can go for some of these too, and even if you're using them, they'll still count towards your Skyblock XP, unlike they would for your museum values. So you could take out the thing, use it for actual use, and then still have that Skyblock XP. So all in all, the main thing I would suggest for after you've farmed a bit and gotten some coins in the very early game, and if you're looking to unlock the Bazaar fast, try to get a bunch of these very simple items. You know, go up to NPCs that sell things, go up to the auction house and find cheap things, all that. Just make sure to look in the museum first, because not every item can go in here, but a lot of them can. And a lot of them, once again, are very cheap. Some of them are even free. For example, if you start around the winter event, or the Jerry's Wonderland, or whatever it's called, you can go up the mountain, and there's actually a chicken race where you fly on a chicken. And one of the awards that you can get for winning that race is this thing right here called the Jingle Bells, which, once again, you essentially get for free. Or something like the Aspect of the Jerry, which is just a stick and I believe 2 Jerry eggs, which you can get really easily. I forget exactly how you get them, I was just looking that up, but this is essentially free too. So, the museum is a very easy place to get tons and tons of really cheap XP. Anyway, I know I just named a couple of methods, but how do they actually work in practice? Because if you're really just starting out, you know, you're not going to have the accessory bag unlocked, you're not going to really have much money to buy all these things. So, let's go over to a newer profile and I'll show you how to get all that done. Now this is actually the profile that I used for my getting started in Skyblock guide a couple weeks ago, if I remember right, maybe even months by this point. But in short, this profile is very, very new. I think it's Skyblock level 2, I've got very low level skills, very low collections. This is not a very progressed profile, obviously, so this is perfect for showing what I need to show. So, one of the other things that I couldn't show on my other profile that will give some Skyblock XP is actually doing this Talk to the Villagers objective. A couple other objectives will give Skyblock XP and other rewards too, but this one is especially easy because you'll be learning things from talking to them, and you'll be exploring spawn, and all around there's a bunch of very useful kind of attributes to doing this objective. So once I talk to this final villager, as you can see, I'll gain some coins and I'll gain some Skyblock XP. Now it's of course going to tell me to talk to Cat the pet sitter, which I don't think gives Skyblock XP, but I could be wrong, so I would suggest still going through with the objective, because one way or another you will learn how the game works and all that, and that's never a bad thing to do. So in short, I do suggest talking to Cat and following all of the objectives that you can, but for now, let's move on to the next part of, how things will go in an actual real-world new profile. Now, as you can see, I am poor. Very little, net worth, if you will, but that is a very easy thing to fix, and it's also fixable in a way that will get you a ton of Skyblock XP while you're doing it, otherwise known as farming. Now, this is one of the first things that you will be able to do when you start in Skyblock, so this is one of the things that you're going to do the most for a good little while. Now, I suggest getting up to about farming level 10 to 11, but you can pretty easily go all the way up to 14 if you really are kind of trying with it. So 10 is a very solid place for if you don't feel like farming a ton though, since 10 is kind of where the XP that it takes to level up starts to ramp up a bit. So yeah, basically if you are a fan of farming, go for beyond 10 by as much as you so choose. If not, 10 is a pretty good place to end at. But either way, as you just saw, you will get coins, you'll get health, and you'll get Skyblock XP just for farming. So that is a tremendously helpful thing to do, and you'll also of course get seeds and all this, which is the main reason we're doing this right now. So I'm gonna farm up a little bit of this, maybe even gain a bit more XP, and that's actually a perfect example before I cut. When you level up the collections for all these items too, you'll gain even more Skyblock XP. So this is essentially 3 ways of getting Skyblock XP at once, since you get the wheat, the seeds, and the farming XP. So, in short, make sure to go farming in the very early game. Now, as you can see by me scrolling up a bit, I have done some farming. I hit level 10, as I said, in farming. Got a good bit of Skyblock XP from all that. And, as you can also see, I have about 25k coins now. So, I can show off this aspect of the whole leveling up process, where you have to, of course, buy these talismans. Now, I can't afford these two, but that's a very minor detail. This is more to show how this works and not the entire process, as I said. But, as I did talk about in my getting started guide and in one of my money guides, there's another way that we can make money. A better way. So, we're going to want to go over to the barn, and then once we're here, we are going to want to just book it through. You can choose to farm here, you can choose to kill the creatures here. If you do, you will unlock more collections, and then you can actually get more Skyblock XP from it. So I do suggest doing that. You can also farm, once again, because that'll unlock collections too. Because unlocking collections and leveling up collections are great for Skyblock XP, as you can see. That took a couple seconds, and I got 4 Skyblock XP really easily. Next up, we're going to want to go to the desert settlement. We're going to want to take a golden shovel, which you can of course buy some gold from the mine merchant, get some sticks from the lumber merchant, and then enchant it at the librarian area. And you want to make sure it's a golden shovel with efficiency 2. It won't work with like a diamond shovel with efficiency 2 to my knowledge, only golden shovel with efficiency 2 or higher. Now, it would work with maybe a diamond shovel with efficiency 3, but either way, this is the cheapest, most ideal way to go. So, as any of you who watch my videos know, I've talked about this a ton of times, but what you're going to want to do next is just take this shovel that can insta-break sand, and you're going to want to take a rogue sword, which will basically double your speed in the early game, and you just want to run around. You just want to get as much sand as possible. This is going to absolutely give so much mining XP that your mining level will skyrocket in no time at all, because as you can see, it's free mining XP for each piece of sand, and there's a lot more sand than there was wheat at the spawn. So once you've kind of ran for a bit, you can go look back and pick up all the sand, because all of this is actually going to help with money very much. And then yeah, you essentially just want to farm for as long as you choose to. You know, there's no set amount of farming for sand that you need to do. Just basically until you get bored is what I would suggest. And I should mention as well, this is of course going to be another one that will give you Skyblock XP through multiple methods too, because you're going to be getting the mining XP, and you're going to get XP through the sand collection. And you are of course going to be able to get a ton of money too, once you can actually turn it into enchanted sand, which is going to be pretty soon. So, gather a ton of sand, get a ton of mining XP, and you'll have a good amount of money in no time, and a ton more Skyblock XP than you would have otherwise, also in no time. So, I'm gonna farm for this for a little bit, and then I'll be back with the next thing you want to focus on in the very early game for getting a ton of XP. So I finally hit mining 10 as well, which of course gave a ton more Skyblock XP, and I should mention, as you level up these skills, they'll give more Skyblock XP too, so it'll go from 5 to 10 pretty quickly, so I definitely suggest leveling them up, as I said. But that of course gave me the sand that I can sell for another pretty sufficient amount of coins, which will let me actually go over here and get the rest of those talismans. Right there. And now lies the big question of how are we going to equip these, because we don't have an accessory bag yet. Well, as you just saw there, I have to have redstone collection too. So let's head over to the deep caverns and get that redstone. Now for any of you that don't know how to get to the deep caverns, we're going to want to go all along here. We're going to go into this cave. We are going to run through everything, and we're going to want to go over to the gold mine. Now once we're in the gold mine, we're going to run through it. You can choose to talk to the lazy miner, and then you can search through the cave and find his lost pickaxe, which will have smelting touch 1 on it, which will be useful for iron and gold and all that. And I actually suggest that entirely because you should be mining the gold and iron and coal and cobble and all that, because that'll also give you collections, which once again will give a ton of Skyblock XP. So follow his objective. I'm not going to do it right now because I already have the pickaxe, but I do suggest kind of just exploring around this cave. In the meantime, while you're searching for it, you can of course be mining and getting even more collections, so it's a win-win on all sides. But once you're here, you're going to want to go down the stairs, and you're going to want to run through here. You know, after you've gotten the lost pickaxe, just kind of ignore the rest of this place, because this is where we're really trying to get to. I believe there is some level of a requirement to get in, but it's a very small requirement, pretty obviously, because I've barely played on this profile, and I can already go there. So, mine a little bit if you can't get in yet, but you should be able to get into the deep caverns by this point. Anyway, let's go. Now once you're here, you're going to want to run through. You're going to want to basically run around this area. Once again, you can continue to mine, but that's not what we're here for. You can run down this area here, and now you'll see that there's lapis. So in this lapis area, you can mine the lapis, get even more collections. You can also kill the lapis zombies, which will of course, you know, try to fight back, but if you have an undead sword, they shouldn't be too big of a problem. And once you have killed them, you'll of course be going along the Rotten Flesh collection, which is going to, once again, even more Skyblock XP. They'll give a bit of combat XP, which will level up your combat skill, right here. And they'll even give you some bestiary, which we can find right here. And once you've gotten their bestiary by killing 15 of them, you'll get a bit of Skyblock XP, and that'll keep happening the more and more of it you kill. So, next up, once you are done with the Lapis area, you can actually run over this way, and there will be another hole down to go even deeper. Here, you'll find the Pigmen's Den. Now, in the Pigmen's Den, you can of course find redstone, which is what we're looking for. So, mine to your heart's content, but go to at least redstone level 2 for the collection, and I'll see you back once I've done that. Now, as you can see right here, I have leveled up the redstone collection to level 2, gotten the Skyblock XP from it, and that has actually leveled me up to level 3. Now, level 3 isn't a significant one. You'll be able to get a booster cookie for free, which is worth a ton of coins, or you can eat it to get some good bonuses, but I don't really suggest eating it in the very early game like this. But that's kind of beside the point right now. So, essentially, we're that much closer to unlocking the Bazaar is the point that I'm getting at. But, even more important than that, now we can go into the bags, we can go into the accessory bag. Yours won't be this big because I have unlocked some things in that community shop that will basically make that bigger, but you can do those for free, so over time you'll be able to do those very easily. And as you put these in, as you just saw, I got a ton of Skyblock XP. So, that is how you do that. Now, with these deep caverns, you can keep going down further and further, if you can find the hole down, which generally is not too hard. I believe the one down to the next level is over here. That's right down over here, and then you will actually be in the Emerald location, where you'll be fighting slimes. Now, the more you fight, the more combat XP, collections, all that you'll unlock. So once again, I absolutely suggest fighting and mining as much as you are willing to, because slime balls are actually worth a pretty solid amount of coins as well. So you're going to be making coins, you're going to be getting XP, you're going to be getting collections, you're going to be getting bestiary, you're going to be getting a little bit of everything all at once. So the deep caverns are amazing for Skyblock XP. Anyway, if you've gotten this far in the video, it's time to get on to some of the last methods for getting Skyblock XP that I wanted to talk about, so that you can speedrun to unlock the Bazaar. So first off, is actually unlocking all the skills that you possibly can. Now, you may be thinking, why do you have to unlock skills? That's a bit weird. Well, simple really. Some of them require you to either have a certain item, like the taming skill, which requires you to have a pet, and as you can see, I have some pets, so I have the taming skill right here. So if I have those pets equipped, I will be getting taming XP as well, which I will demonstrate in just a moment. But to start off with, why are we at this building? Simply because this is the carpenter, and the carpenter, after you talk to him, will actually ask you to bring him a stack of wool. Now, stack of wool, very easy to get. You don't need to kill a 64 sheep, but all you need to do is go over here. As you saw, it's very close. You can go up here to the wool weaver, and once she's done talking, you can go next page, white wool, get a stack, only 2k coins, pretty cheap, and then you can just run on back, and once we're back here, give it to the carpenter. He'll say thanks so much for the help, and he'll share his passion of carpentry with you. So now I can gain carpentry XP, which is essentially anytime you craft an item, you get some carpentry XP. So for example, let me go over here and get some wheat. Okay, I have farmed a bunch, and I've gotten a ton of wheat and a ton of seeds. Now, as you can see, if I craft up some enchanted seeds again, and if I craft up some more, I will level up in carpentry. So anytime you craft something manually like that, you'll get some carpentry XP, which also will mean you'll get some Skyblock XP. Now for the taming XP aspect of all of this, what we're going to want to do to start off with is get the bee pet. Any pet will work, but this is going to be the easiest when you're just starting out, or one of the easiest and also probably the best. So you're just going to want to basically talk to bee in here, and she'll say, you know, give her 2 blocks of coal, 2 blocks of gold, and 5k coins, and then you'll get a bee pet. So you can buy the gold and coal from the mining merchant over there, and then once you have the pet equipped, you can go farm a ton, and any second now, I will level up in taming and get even more Skyblock XP. Anyway, the next and final thing that you're going to want to look out for are actually fairy souls. Now, that's a bit close. Now, the very first thing you may be wondering, if you are very new to Skyblock, is what are fairy souls? Well, if you run through the hub like this, go over towards the Coliseum area, and then take a right, you can run over this bridge, and just keep following the path, cross over yet another bridge, and then soon you will find yourself at the fairy's little pond, where you can talk to the fairy right over here. Now, once you talk to her, she will let you know, she's Tia, the fairy, and that there have been strange orbs laying around the island and all of this very important information. Not. Basically, as simple as it needs to be said, you find the fairy souls on the ground, they look like this, and you right or left click on them, it doesn't really matter, and then you can go up and give them to her. But you need 5 of them at a time. So, in my next video, I'm actually going to be showing a mod that can show where all the fairy souls are at all times. I will use it right now just to show you a couple, but I'm going to be showing all the reasons for why you want to use the mod, so definitely be looking forward to that. Anyway, if I turn back on fairy soul waypoints, I can actually see all of them all over the place, and this will show me how to get, or not show me how to get to them, but it will show me once again where they are, which generally is more than enough information, as long as they're not, in too difficult of a place. For example, this one, you can't just dig straight down, of course, but you gotta kind of look around, and you'll find a little ladder here. And once you go down the ladder, fairy soul. So, basically, be looking out for that video. It's gonna be all about how to use Bad Lion for Skyblock, and then get searching for all the fairy souls, and then you can go back to Tia the Fairy and trade them in for some easy Skyblock XP. Even easier than most of the other methods too, because once you have the mod installed, as I said, you can see any of the fairy soul locations, and you'll get 10 XP per 5 fairy souls. So, that'll ramp up really quickly, and then you'll be able to get Skyblock level 7 for Bazaar in no time at all. Anyway, that is all for today actually, so next time, as I said, I'm going to be teaching you all about how to get the Bad Lion mod, or client, or whatever you want to consider it as, and also how to set it up and use it for Skyblock. So definitely be looking out for that once again. But, as I said, that's all for today, so if you liked the video and if it helped you out at all, definitely make sure to leave a like. It helps a ton with the algorithm to get this to more people who might need the video. And definitely make sure to comment if I missed anything, or if you have any other suggestions about how to level up quick, or just whatever else you might want to comment. If you want to comment just for word potato, gladly do that. And definitely, most of all, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and as I've said, at 500 I am going to be doing a 10 million at least coin giveaway. It might even be like upwards of 15 million, I don't know. It depends on how much I have at the time, but at least 10 million. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you all very much for watching. Till next time, everyone, and goodbye.